This is a 2020 Toyota pickup. Today I will tell you how I bought it for $16,000. I bought this pickup in January of 2017. It cost me $3,500. I then proceeded to pay $300 to the government for taxes and registration. At that point I was into it for just under $4,000. And then the problems began. I took it home, looked over it, and noticed there were a couple things that needed work. The timing was set at 30 degrees before top dead center. That, incidentally, is wrong. This valve, right here, had two hoses broken off and hanging loose, causing a humongous vacuum leak. And speaking of humongous vacuum leaks, the PCV system was shot. So, I began to dig into it a little more, and found out that under this wheel there was a grease zerk instead of a brake bleeder. Yes, seriously. Another thing that could have ended very badly, but fortunately did not, was that the oil pressure sender switch was replaced with a sheet metal screw. It turns out somebody had twisted off the old one and couldn't get it out, so I made an adapter, tacked in threads, and put in a new one. And this is the tank for the windshield washer fluid. The pump is down in here, and it was broken. The tray for this battery was missing, and this is the driver's seat. Unfortunately, it wasn't the driver's seat for very long, because the mounts were broken and the internals were broken, so that had to be fixed as well. While we're in here, check out the nice aftermarket radio. Unfortunately, it was a very aftermarket wiring job, which they did, taking a wire across here and jamming a spade terminal into the fuse box. Yes, I am very upset with whoever did that. While we're in here also, there's a swivel ring so you can turn the steering wheel and still blow the horn. Those contacts had been filed down to the point where it didn't look, so I had to make a new sleeve and slide it over the top. Still not the greatest tone you ever heard. Under here, on the transfer case up there, is an indicator for two-wheel or four-wheel drive. That indicator, for who knows what reason, was disconnected. There were a couple other miscellaneous things, like mineral scale in the radiator, various things disconnected, various stuff broken and missing, for a total of about $3,800 of parts. And just when I thought everything was done and I had a nice pickup, I looked at the transmission. Somebody put motor oil in the transmission. And that was when I realized this project just got a whole lot longer. If you look at this transmission, you'll notice it looks a lot newer. That's because it is a lot newer. I sprang for a brand newly rebuilt transmission from, that is a Mullen Crollo W56 transmission, and it cost many, many, many dollars. I also did some upgrades. You can see there's a light on here with a control panel, and my sweet custom stake-side bed with fire extinguisher. At that point, I sat down and had a serious talk with myself. I was like $10,000 into this thing, and I still didn't have a nice pickup. Why didn't I have a nice pickup? Because of this. The engine, which had been going strong for a couple years, was beginning to use a quart of oil every 600 miles. It had no power. It smoked like a 35-year-old engine that never had the oil changed. So I did what any logical person would do, and put in a new engine. At this point, I can hear some people down in the comments saying, but it's not worth spending so much on a 35-year-old vehicle. And to you I say, well, maybe not, but also, maybe so. Why would someone put this much money into a 35-year-old vehicle? Well, there's a few reasons. First, it's a Toyota. Toyotas hold their value insanely well, especially this generation is going up in value, and it might be one of those rare vehicles that is actually an investment. It might not, but it's worth the risk. The second reason is under here. You see that axle? The solid front axle enables me to run tire chains and go all kinds of places. But in modern day vehicles, you can't get them until you go up to a 3/4 ton. Much as I would love to own a 3/4 ton pickup, this is small. It has a reasonably economical 4-cylinder engine, and it doesn't cost $60,000. The third reason is, it's cool. I mean, right now it's cool because it's covered in snow, but even in the hottest summer day, it's still cool. So with that decided, I decided to go all in and rebuild the thing. Got a new engine for like $3,800 from 22 OE Performance out in California. Great experience, they build wonderful engines, totally recommended. This has an upgraded timing chain, and so many parts. New heater hoses, new radiator shroud, new belts. By the time I was done with that, I realized this is no longer a 1985 Toyota pickup. This is a 2020 Toyota pickup. So if you want to see more about how to save tons of money on your vehicles by rebuilding them all from the ground up over the process of 3 years, stick around and subscribe. And don't forget to give me a like, or I just might turn into a puff of snow and blow away.